Testing, 1, 2, 3. Do everyone can hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hello, hello. Uh, can you hear me? Okay. So it's 2:50 local time, and I think according to our schedule, we should start now. Okay. So without further ado, let me first introduce myself. I'm Dr. Isaham. I'm a representative from University of Malaysia Perlis, co-host for this GNOME Asia Summit 2020, together with local team of Mr. Khairul Aizat and the others. Okay, and uh, I am sharing camera, so my face is not here now. So sorry for that. I'll fix that later. And what else? I'm sorry. Okay, can I make make a do over? I'm kind of nervous. Okay, so again, let me introduce myself. Okay, I'm Dr. Izam, a representative from University of Malaysia Perlis. We are supposed to co-host this event physically, but due to the pandemic, here we are now, and just an online session. And without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Khairul Aizat to begin his presentation.
Okay.
Mr. Khairul Aizat, please.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Izham. Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope everyone is safe and healthy with the beloved at the current pandemic situation. I am Cairo Aizat, a representative from GNOME Asia Summit organizing team. At this year's summit, we are co-organizing with UNIMAP, as mentioned by Dr. Izam just now, supported by Genome Foundations. And the organizer also would like to thanks to the sponsor, which is GitLab and OpenSUSE. For those who are first time joining this summit, GNOME Asia Summit is the featured annual genome conference in Asia. It focuses primarily on Genome Desktop, but also covers application and platform development tools. The summit brings together the genome community in Asia to provide a forum for users, developers, foundation leaders, governments, and businesses to discuss the present technology and the future development. So we will have this summit in a 3 days event. All talks are recorded and we are live on YouTube as well. So you guys can see the link shared before in the public chat. To please share it at your media social. Okay, so we will have a social event like cooking classes and music class. So from there, we can get along with the summit participants. And I do hope that you guys can share your experience by using by using hashtag GNOME Asia 2020 on your media social. And for this year event, this year summit, we will have three exciting keynotes, which is number one from Professor IR Technologist Dr. Arbadilisha Ahmad. Number two, keynote speaker is Mr. Robert McQueen. And we have a Miss Hong Pok Dang, which is our third keynote speaker. Um, so guys, not to forget that we have a code of conduct for this summit, which you guys can read on our event page. So please behave and have a great knowledgeable session throughout the summit. I think that's all for welcoming notes, and I think hopefully everyone is enjoying. And I'm still waiting for my colleague from representative from foundation, Mr. Neil. Mr. Neil already in the room. Mm, so do you have anyone have a question? So maybe while waiting for him, I can try my best to answer if you have any questions about summits or about the venue or especially about Malaysia in general. So anyone? I'm still waiting.
Okay. Agree.
Okay, I think that's all for me for welcoming. So I'm hoping that everyone will have good, knowledgeable session sharings by all our exciting speakers. So we will start with Melissa in a few minutes. I think at the 15 hours. So thank you guys and have a great summit. Bye.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Khairul. Um, I think without further ado, I want to make Miss Melissa Wu as the presenter now.
Thank you. Let me upload my presentation.
Okay, please do so. Sure, no problem. Okay. Okay, Melissa, whenever you're ready.
Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Wu. I am the project coordinator at the GNOME Foundation, responsible for managing the Community Engagement Challenge. Today, I'm going to walk you through how the challenge originated and where we are today. So, thanks to a grant from Endless, we were able to create this program, and it was designed around existing challenges in the community. Specifically, we had identified that there was a need for improved access globally to software engineering, education, and training. We also wanted to try and create a more diverse environment, as we found that a number of engineers identify as male and or white and or of European descent. We also wanted to, we also realized that one of the challenges was to attract and maintain a number of high-quality developers to help drive the GNOME project forward. Not as many contributors had been contributing as they had been in the past, and we realized that only 25% of developers were using Linux as their primary operating system. So we developed this program, this challenge, in order to address some of these issues. We wanted to encourage individuals or teams to submit stimulating ideas that connected the next generation of coders to the FOSS community, improved the, I can't even see my slides, improved the coding, improved sort of engagement within the community, and encouraged engagement for years to come. There we go. And we hoped by setting these goals that there would be some tangential results as well. Specifically, we hope to increase the awareness and skills required to contribute to free and open software amongst educators and students, as well as raise the profile of GNOME and free software in the education sector. We wanted to increase the number of people who are trained in coding free and open software and who interacted with GNOME and our technologies in order to increase the rate of development and sustainability of the project. And we wanted to increase the percentage of GNOME contributors, diversifying the genders that participated as well as the races. With these goals in mind, and once the program was in place, we knew that we wanted to spread the word. So Caroline Hendrickson developed these great images to brand the challenge. As you'll note, they all have a similar look and feel, and when you see this, you know that the messaging going forward will be about the challenge. And so with the brand and graphics in place, it was our goal to share the challenge with as many people as possible. So I'm curious, how many of you guys have heard of this challenge before tonight's presentation? Before it's tonight for me. I know it's morning for a lot of other people. So how many of you have heard about this challenge before? Before tonight's or today's presentation? If you could just put it in the chat, yes, I've heard of it, or no, this is the first time. We'll do a little informal poll very quickly. Oh, great, okay. So a couple of people have heard of it already. Some people haven't. And the reason that I bring this up is because once we had the branding in place, we knew we had to reach out to as many people as we could. And so this is a little bit of what our outreach program looked like. We attended a number of conferences, which was sadly modified due to COVID-19. We reached out to a number of community managers, emailed different listservs, organized a number of different community chats in different platforms. We had several social media posts, and we also used personal outreach to reach out to people, to our friends, our family, within the community and outside of the community. We had a 3-month plan, and so what you'll see here is the spheres of influence of how people found out about the challenge. We realized that a majority of people found out from Twitter, as well as through media, Linux Gamer, and other social media places. And that was about 50 to 60% of the folks that submitted applications. But we don't want to discount this group over here, which is a number of influencers. Now, they didn't influence as many people, but at least 40 to 50% of the group was influenced by other outlets, through LinkedIn, through friends, and through other organizations like KDE. We phased the challenge so that there were 3 phases. Phase 1 ran from April to July. April is when we launched the program, and July is when we announced the Phase 1 winners. Specifically for Phase 1, we set a few different goals. One was we wanted to have 100 viable proposal submissions. And I'm happy to say that we met that goal with 149 proposals received. We also wanted a diversity of genders that were submitting proposals, and at least 5 proposals by non-males. We met that goal as well. We had over 10 proposals submitted by non-males or teams of non-male members. We also wanted to have a geographic or cultural diversity. And so we wanted to have 2 or more proposals from underserved communities, including Asia, Mexico, Africa, South and Central America. We met that goal as well. Out of the 104 proposals, there were 38 countries and inquiries from over 500 individuals. But I show you this map today, and I ask if you guys have heard of this program, because you'll see that while we did meet our goal in Asia, there was still a large area that we didn't receive any proposals or inquiries from. And so I wanted to make it my goal to make sure that if we did a challenge like this again in the future, that everybody around the world would be able to say that they've heard of this program. As I mentioned, on Phase 1 ended on July 25th, and that's where we announced the winners at Guadalajara in Zacatecas. 20 projects all 149 projects were judged by the 4 judges that we had invited to participate in the program, and 20 projects were selected to move on to Phase 2. Of those projects, 12 were teams and 8 were individuals that were submitting proposals. 6 teams were made up of non-male leads or had non-male team members. And we had representation from 10 countries: Brazil, the US, Canada, Mexico, Germany, India, the UK, Austria, Turkey, and Macedonia. These 20 projects were invited to, as I mentioned, phase 2. And during phase 2, they were asked to further develop the programs that they were working on. We wanted to make sure that we supported these projects. And the outreach and support was a little bit different this time, because now we were not trying to reach a mass audience necessarily, but wanting to support these 20 projects and make sure that we continue to maintain interest in the challenge globally. So we did a couple of things. The last few months, we wanted to make sure we continued interest in the challenge. And so we shared news in what would be the annual report, the Endless blog, and some other places, as well as in the year-end summaries and social media posts. We also wanted to make sure that we were supporting our projects. And so we hosted 2 judges forums so that the projects could have some FaceTime with the judges. And we wanted to make sure that we called attention to all of these projects for all of the hard work that they did. And so we highlighted each project with multiple social media posts from September to October. All of these groups worked so hard on their projects that I wanted to take a quick second to share them with you. So I'm going to just talk very, very briefly actually about all 20 of them. First, we had BOSS, which is Big Open Source Sister. This is a Brazilian-based organization that aimed to reach underrepresented groups in technology who wanted to work and be mentored in open source projects. We also had broadening participation through scaffold-sustained FOSS engagement in an undergraduate computing curriculum. And this redesigns an undergraduate computing curriculum infusing with FOSS and computing for the greater good. Creative FOSS was submitted to lower the barrier to entry of contributing to open source projects, specifically for non-technical people. Eureka Universe was submitted by a team based in Mexico, and it's a business analytics platform that utilizes a universal representation based on fuzzy logic and related techniques. First Contributions helps beginners contribute to open source projects through hands-on tutorials, a project database, and an online forum. FOSS Desktop for Kids gives technology access to underserved students by guiding them through the process of building their own open source powered computers. FOSS Campus is a platform that offers a step-by-step guide for students to participate in open source in a fun and engaging manner. FOSS Group is a web platform which covers theory and practical exercises to help in the development of coding skills. FOSS Storm brings new contributors into the open source community by giving them access to a skill-based directory and offers project management guidance. CandyBots is an accessibility tool that allows human-computer interaction with people who have some degree of motor disability. Init.oss introduces users to contributing to FOSS by teaching language basics and practice sets, and featuring practice sets. The Institute for Computing and Research Summer Internship Program is a 4-week internship program designed to train students in research, computer programming, and computational thinking. LeapCode is a gamified platform that rewards and motivates first-time contributors. And Let's GNOME is a series of hands-on workshops for universities, such as a class that helps attendees learn how to write GNOME applications. RIA was designed to be the world's first Linux development learning platform with both video and text-based courses focused on Linux development. Open Source Made Easy is a GNOME application and a one-stop guide for all beginning coders in the FOSS community. Open UK Kids courses and associated digital camps teaches kids both to code and to learn about open source via short and fun animated lessons. The Open University Project is a communication network that assigns beginning coders to volunteer developers and aims to mentor them in an open source community. Program Kits for Everyone is a program kit that would be digitally delivered or physically delivered and contains all the tools needed to create a small to medium-sized FOSS project. And Welcome to FOSS is a platform that analyzes available OSS projects to help newcomers choose the right project according to their preference. So as you can see, there are a number of different projects. They all are focused on helping newcomers integrate better into the free and open software community. The submissions for phase 2 were due on November 2nd, and we are going to announce the winners of phase 2 on November 2nd, and the winners will be announced on December 2nd live via this channel if you guys would like to join us. Now, I highlighted all of these projects because I think that they're all amazing, but I know you're all interested in knowing how you can contribute and how you can support these projects. So first off, with free and open software, of course, everybody is looking for assistance of some kind, especially in a volunteer community. So please feel free to reach out to any of these projects directly, or I'm happy to help connect you as well if you want to email me at cechallenge@gnome.org. You can also get involved with GNOME further than you guys all already are. And here is the link to do that. It's gnome.org/support/GNOME. And here you can make a financial contribution. You can see teams that you can join, as well as other ways to get involved in the community. So that's my presentation for the evening. Thank you so much for joining. I hope I gave you a good and brief overview of the challenge, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you, Melissa, for your presentation. I think it's very nice introductory work regarding programs and all projects currently or what do you call it? What was done under GNOME. I do have a question, and I think you can look at it at my shared notes. It's just my curiosity because you see, my professor is retiring, so we kind of lost. We are beginning to lose the first generation of contributors. So, do you have any suggestion to that?
Suggestions for replacing the next generation? I don't actually see your question.
Okay, on the shared notes. I'm sorry.
Shared notes. I got you. Sorry,
Okay.
I was looking at the chat.
No. Shared. It's shared. My bad.
Oh, so let me clarify your question. Are you interested in engaging the older generation of programmers and developers, or are you interested in different ideas to replace the hole that they might be leaving?
It's just that the way things are going now, I think we are putting more effort in bringing up new generations and new communities to work on new projects. But what about my concern is the older generations, they have the solid foundation or some of the know-how that I think is very valuable to pass on, but I don't see any programs or any workshop regarding on bringing these people. Most of them are retired, of course. Mm-hmm. Bringing these people to pass on or share the knowledge. So I'm just curious. Do you have any plan for that?
Absolutely. So it's wonderful that you bring this up, because as we were designing this challenge, that topic came up of how do we engage an older population. We talk about accessibility, and we have so much programming for those who and are very open to developing programs for those that have a disability. Maybe they have trouble seeing or have a mobile disability, or as they get older, there are other challenges that come up. This audience the older generation, you absolutely do not want to lose them. They have the history and the knowledge of the community that is not necessarily found in the younger, very loosely, but the new group that is coming up. And so we want to do what we can to embrace them, to make sure that we are open to their suggestions, that group's suggestions, and create resources as a community that do support them. It's really interesting. There was an email that came across my desk recently. It was someone who was saying, I am 80 years old, I am retired. So that's great, right? They have a lot of time they can contribute to these projects, whereas a student might not have as much time, or someone who's working full-time might not. So wonderful, they have time. We want their time. We want their capabilities. But he said, but I'm having some trouble figuring out X, Y, and Z. And I don't remember what X, Y, and Z is. But I think it is our responsibility to make sure that we embrace this individual, that we answer their questions, and help them to figure out how to solve X, Y, and Z so that they feel welcomed in the community. I think this goes for any contributor, whether they're older generation, newer generation. We want to make sure that we create a community that is very open to everybody, regardless of talent or capability or even of interest. If they are here saying, hey, I'm interested in this community, they're looking for a place, and we should welcome them with open arms.
Thank you. That really satisfies my curiosity. Meaning there's a work in that direction going on.
There is, and if there's upcoming challenges like this planned, I have to tell you, there's a lot of ideas floating around. We always rely on funding to help support these programs. So if we have the funding, then more programs like this can occur. And when there is not as much funding, then perhaps we see less of them.
Okay. Any more questions from our audience? I think I have another one here. Number 2, is there any upcoming challenge like this plan? So what?
I sort of addressed that. We've been talking about additional challenges. This one will be over in, so phase 2 will be announced. The winners of phase 2 will be announced on December 2nd. And then those projects will have another 3 months to improve where they are. And then the final winners will be announced in March. And so after that, we'll celebrate them and we'll see them and we'll learn all about their projects. And so that's sort of what's next for them. But after that, then we'll have opportunity to do a new project. We just need to get it organized and get it funded and kind of go from there. So if anybody's interested in seeing a challenge, we could do one in Asia. We could do the one that focuses on the older generation. Whatever the sponsors want.
Okay, I think this is the final one. What's the next after the challenge? If you look at the shared notes.
I see that. Yeah,
and I think I think you answered this indirectly. Okay.
I did. And then I saw in the public chat that someone asked if I could share my notes and share the slides, and I'd be more than happy to.
Okay. I think that. Is there any more question? Oh yeah.
And if we run out of time, please feel free to email me. My contact information is on the screen.
No, we still have time. Don't worry.
Oh, I thought I only had 20 minutes.
It's until 25. I mean, it's my clock, on my clock.
Okay, good.
Okay, so yeah, we do have about 2 more minutes. Any final question?
We had a lot of fun designing this challenge and running it. I really hope that the next time we do the challenge that we have a lot more We have, my goal would be to increase the
Okay,
number of
on my clock.
applications.
No, okay. Okay, so since we don't have any more questions, thank you, Melissa. Thank you for your presentation. It was a very nice presentation, and it really kind of conjures up the memories of me and my professor during the old days when we are kind of a minority in our work. So thank you for your presentation again, and I'll see you again.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me,
Sure.
and have a great rest of the conference.
All right. Okay. Shazwan, a little help you. Shazwan, I need your help you.
Yes.
Our next presenter should be I can't find him. Hello, hello. Okay. 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 So next we're going to present our keynote speakers, Professor Badlisha. Okay. Before we begin our keynote session, I have to first forgive the technical difficulties. There's a bit of a problem with my microphone. And okay, the reason we are doing this session as a recording is because there's a change of schedule for Professor Badlisha. And after the presentation, instead of Professor Badlisha, I'll be taking the question on his behalf. Okay, without further ado, I will start the video.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon. My name is Professor Badlisha Ahmad. I am the Vice Chancellor of University Malaysia Perlis. Today I'm going to talk about a free and open source software or FOSS implementation or planning at University Malaysia Perlis. The outline of my talk is on the introduction about software which are being used in UNIMAP, and also I will talk about briefly go to the importance of how or why FOSS is very important to be adopted, and also I will talk about the FOSS, the vision that we are looking at, and also some initiatives that we are planning. And I will also talk about the current status of free and open source software in UNIMAP, and how there are groups which already using free and open source software in their project activities. So as you know, UNIMAP is the 17th university out of the 20 university public university in Malaysia. We are quite young. We are already 18 years of our operations since 2002, and as an academic institution, we use lots of software, especially for teaching and learning, as well as in research, and also for our ICT operation, such as database server software. And most large portion, especially for teaching and learning and research, we are still using lots of commercial software. And of course, due to this, the cost of procurement and maintenance for this commercial software is very high. So we are looking for alternative of this due to the high maintenance costs by adopting free and open source software, and as an alternative due to the low cost and also high quality alternative in comparison to commercial software, and the force allow for us to do customization either for teaching and learning, research, and also our ICT operation. So as I said earlier, the main reason of adopting FOSS UNIMAP is because of the cost, the licensing fees, every year that we have to allocate amount of money to maintain the usage of the software among our academic staff and also students, and we try to avoid the vendor lock caused by this licensing fee. And also we are trying to develop a community or active community to work on the free and open source software support. Due to the commercial software support is very limited, and by having this community support within University Malaysia Police, we are able to provide good services for all the users in UNIMAP. And also we wish to have long-term software development for specific needs based on our requirement. And lastly, we hope that University Malaysia Police can be part of the collaborative partners for open source software community in the world, where we can help together to develop or enhance the free and open source software, especially for teaching and research. We have a vision, and our vision is hopefully is achievable. We are looking for a large scale adoption of FOSS, especially in teaching and learning, research, and also in our ICT operation. And we wish to also have a center of excellence for free and open source software to help us in planning and to do more collaboration with the community, and as well as working with industries by performing various research and development in utilizing the free and open source software. And we also wish to have such facilities for training and workshop, where we are able to train our graduates before they can complete their studies with enough knowledge and prepare them for their work after they graduated. And with that, we wish also to embed our curriculum with appropriate knowledge regarding the free and open source software. And we wish also to contribute back to open source software community by providing mirror servers and contribute back to the software development. So the main step that will be taken is by establish a special committee, where we call it Jawatankuasa FOSS, or in English we call it FOSS committee, which has a task to be performed. And the JFOSS members will be selected from various faculty, and these members will be selected based on their specific skills, experience, as well as their interests related to FOSS. And this committee will look into policy planning, training and implementation, and other relevant activities for quick FOSS adoption within the university. And this committee, the JFOSS, will have regular reporting to the top management in regarding the success of their planning towards adopting FOSS in university. So we are looking, so this FOSS committee will look into a fast transition or replacing the current operating system used, which is mostly the commercial software, into using the free and open source operating system, which are Linux, of course, and they will provide a training and workshop on how to use the operating system, and the introduction of the distros, the suitable distros such as Ubuntu, Mint, Zorin, CentOS, according to the suitability of the operation and the use for the staff, academic, or the students. And we will also looking to replace the commercial software for the office suite, which is the equivalent such as the LibreOffice or OpenOffice. And we are looking into using LaTeX typesetting standard throughout all the theses in UNIMED, so that this will encourage the postgraduate student to use open source software, and by also replacing drawing software to use such as Inkscape. And also most of our program have consists of using software for programming. So we are looking for suitable compiler which is used in our courses, especially in the C++ programming, and also adopting or introducing Python, Java, and also other programming tools which will use mostly free and open source software. And we are looking also planning into replacing commercial software which has been heavily used in our curriculum, such as MATLAB, and then replace it with the suitable open source software such as Scilab. And hopefully this committee will make sure a smooth transition through user experience by exposing them into appropriate FOSS software, and also to promote more activities and making and to educate our users on why are the reason to use the software. And of course we are encouraged to use free and open source software for our operation, especially in the database and servers, to use mainly and replace it using free and open source software. So basically the structure of FOSS committee, which consists of the chairman, which will report to the top management regularly on their activities, and we have academic divisions which consists of the operating system, productivity software, programming language, and also user experience and transition, where most workshop and training will be conducted there. And in the ICT division we have the operation and database team to look into the smooth transition to replace commercial software to free and open source software. So that is our planning for the adoption or large adoption of free and open source software in UNIMED. So what we did so far. So at this moment, we have heavily used commercial software, especially in teaching, and most of our program are engineering program. So software that we heavily use such as computer-aided design or CAE software, and which are used in all engineering courses. So nowadays I think we are quite confident that open source software alternatives are matured, and we can find the suitable replacement for the commercial software for this kind of applications. And also for, as I said earlier, mostly all engineering program will take programming courses, and we hope so far some are using the free open source software, but mostly are still using commercial software. So we try to adopt or replace the compiler for the programming courses to fully use free and open source software. And also on the design, I think for engineering education, design, especially the graphics or artistic, mainly for the non-technical courses, we use a commercial software. Like I said earlier, the priority software, especially the Office suite, are still the dominant, and it will take times to do the replacement. And I hope with this committee they are able to plan activities for the smooth transition from the commercial, especially the Microsoft Office, to use free and open source software throughout the universities. And there are other software that is being used or need to be replaced. For example, the teaching and learning related software like the recording software, especially in teaching and learning, and also how we can use free and open source software for the timetable planning, and also platform for online learning need to be looked into and adopt to free and open source software platform. So in commercial software, where we have identified like the CAD and CAE, mostly we found out that they are using like AutoCAD, CATIA, SolidWorks, ANSYS, and also COMSOL. For the programming courses, the software being used such as MATLAB, LabVIEW, SPSS, and also Minitab. And for the design of the graphic, we identify that the mostly used software, the commercial software, they are using like Adobe Photoshop and also Adobe Illustrator. And for the productivity, mostly use Microsoft Office and also Microsoft Project. So we have identified the fourth alternative for the software, the commercial software that has been used widely in UNIMAP. For example, for the FreeCAD alternative, we have AutoCAD, SolidWorks, and also CATIA as their replacement with FreeCAD. And for the ANSYS and COMSOL, we have identified the potential alternative, which is called OpenForm and Salom Mecha. And the integration of FreeCAD and OpenForm is also available in the website. And we also have identified a suitable Linux distro, which is called CAE Linux, which contains all of the most stable or FOSS alternative for teaching and learning. So we are considering adopting CAE Linux in our teaching and learning environment. So as I said, we have heavily used software on AutoCAD, CATIA, and SolidWorks, which can be replaced with FreeCAD, and with ANSYS and COMSOL, we can replace with OpenForm and Salom Mecha, and it is all integrated add-ons on the CAE Linux distro, which is available, downloadable in the website. For FOS alternative for programming and also operating system, we have plenty of choice. For the programming, we can have either GCC, or now they are also using code blocks, and we have also LLVM compiler infrastructure to be used in our programming courses. And the suitable Linux distro which can be used or to replace the current commercial software, it can be either Ubuntu, CentOS, Debian, Linux Mint, and many more. So this is the description of the software between commercial software and open source software that we are able to replace, and inshallah we are trying to identify more suitable software for the replacement of the commercial software in teaching and learning. As mentioned earlier, Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop can be easily replaced with the matured free and open source software called Inkscape and also GIMP. And of course, there are many more software alternative for the commercial software where FOSS are available. So here, as I said, I think many organizations, especially in Malaysia, we are still stuck with the commercial software, and I hope one day we will fully migrate from the commercial software to free and open source software in the future. So these are the example of groups that are already implementing FOSS in their project. We have a university art team where they totally use open source software for their project. So they are previously they've used a CAE software or Katya and ANSYS. Now they migrate into the open source software due to the number of licenses that we have is insufficient, and also it makes it difficult for the other student to access the software and to be used in their project. So partial migration has been successfully through the use of FreeCAD and OpenFOAM, which has been done this year, and the transition from the commercial software to the FreeCAD OpenFOAM software is very promising, and inshallah I think in the next year the full migration is possible. So these are some of the photos where students involved in developing racing car, which will be used in competition among universities. So these are some of the examples that they are using the software to design this one, like the tire and also other relevant product in their project. So these are drawing based on the FreeCAD. So previously they are using Katya, and then this year, as I said, they are successfully migrate to use FreeCAD for designing their product. We also have example of groups where we use Beowulf cluster project for the mechanical design lab, which implemented the open MPICH for parallel processing project, where they use the Dell workstation and also the Dell PowerEdge server to set up this cluster. So these are how the Beowulf cluster IP are mapped, and this has been done successfully this year. Actually, we have started using Linux in teaching and learning since 2005, and quite number of computer laboratory has successfully migrated from the commercial software to use free and open source software Linux distribution. This is the examples where we use nearly more than 200 unit desktop using Linux Zorin and also Linux Mint for teaching and learning, especially for the programming courses. So we are at the end of my talk. I would like to conclude that so far, as I said, we have established JForce due to the needs the need to have a very smooth transition from commercial software to free and open source software. So it is very important to establish this JForce. And at this moment, we have managed or successfully to adopt from commercial to free and open source software, and we are looking forward to have a large adoption throughout this university, especially in teaching and learning and also in research. So far we have partial adoption in ICT operation, where we still using the commercial software, for example the Oracle database, and one day we should be able to plan fully migration from commercial to a free and open source of software for our ICT operation. Some programming courses has been fully adopted open source software, and as mentioned earlier, there are quite number of laboratory already migrated from using commercial operating system desktop to free and open source software or Linux distribution in some of the laboratory. Student involvement is excellent. I'm sure the younger generation are less likely to carry a legacy software habit. So if we are able to train them, they should be able to use it during once they graduated and work in industry. And adoption amongst faculty members at this particular moment is relatively high, and it becomes evident by our ability to form the JForce, which consists of members from various faculty. And I hope that I'm sure UNIMAP now on the right path to have a large adoption of using free and open source software in the future. And of course, the future of UNIMAP, we are trying to have a major adoption of FOSS through syllabus development and through workshop and training, and of course they will reduce commercial software usage, and also we will try to look into replacing the commercial software used in our database. And hopefully one day we will establish FOSS Center of Excellence at the university level, and hopefully we can make it a regional or national reference point to this Center of Excellence, which provides mirror sites, which provide expertise regarding the open source software development. So with that, thank you very much for having this time with me, and I hope this GNOME Asia Summit can be run successfully, and let us pray that one day the free and open source software can be implemented widely, especially in University Malaysia Police and other organizations. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, that wraps up the keynote speech from Professor Badli Shah, which is our University Malaysia Police Vice Chancellor. I'll be taking questions, but I think if you want a proper response, you can email to us. I shared our email at the chat notes. But if you have any questions that you think you want to ask me now, and something that I can respond, I will respond, and something that I don't have the authority, so you can send us your email. Yes, my microphone. So if you don't have any more questions, we will go to our break. See you after the break. See you after the break at local time. Uh, 4:45 p.m. So it's local time 4:45 p.m. Okay, 15 minutes before 5. And thank you for listening, and have a nice break.
Sorry, Isham, I think that we have one question. Can you please check it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yes. I just saw one. Sorry for that. I just saw one. Okay. Yes. Okay. Is there any support from government for implementing post? Yes, we do have. Yes, we do have support, but it's not as how can I say this? It's not a support in a sense of financial, but rather in the sense of policy, where the put it this way, if we can save some money by implementing FOSS, then they will grant us access for certain usage. So it's more of how do you say it? It's more of a showing support rather than a real financial incentive. Anything else? Mobile client app. Oh, okay. Mobile client app for BBGP. Oh, is there any? I'm not aware of. No. I think it's there's no mobile apps. Okay, what else? So, any more questions? Oh, thanks, Dean. Thanks, Dean. Thanks for that. I have to admit that we are kind of in the process of looking for something that works and trying to mitigate concerns, because we are at current moment most of our administration works are on commercial software, so we have to mitigate that, and we have to of course retrain our staff. So it's a very delicate process of getting people to move into that direction. So if you don't have any more questions, then I think we can take a break now, and we'll see you again at 4:45 local time. That is UTC 8:45. Have a nice break. Thank you.
just oh, we could eat out. Down as we look up to the stars. We could be having a feast, show you the flavors of north. Make our way down to the south. Now you know what we're about. Hey, now, faces and places to know. Hey, now, that was the place to explore. Hey, now, you gotta see the beat. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Come on, gotta make a move to get there right now. Somewhere nice so we can get away. Better than the ordinary day. You're my paradise. Let me take you to the places you've been wishing. Catching sunsets when we ride the waves. Swear it's gonna steal our hearts away. You're my paradise. Gotta move, gotta get you there. Somewhere nice we can get away. Wait, let me take you to places you've been wishing for. Hey, now, faces and places to know. Hey, now, that was the place to explore. Hey, now, you gotta see the beat. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Come on, gotta make a move to get there right now. Somewhere nice so we can get away. Better than the ordinary day. You're my paradise. Let me take you to the places you've been wishing. Catching sunsets when we ride the waves. Swear it's gonna steal our hearts away. You're my paradise. We could be swimming among the lumberjacks. Down to where the cars at. Know where we're from, where we at. Can't just stop where I'm feeling that. Truly in the ocean, you just gotta see. Truly Asia in this vision, where I be. We be flying to the land beneath the wave. We be trekking through the jungle, this is where I wanna be. Hey, now, faces and places to know. Hey, now, thousands of things to explore. Now, you gotta see the beat. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. My paradise, my paradise. Oh, paradise, my paradise. Oh, my paradise, my paradise. Oh, my paradise, my paradise. Oh, come on, gotta make a move to get there right now. Somewhere nice so we can get away. Better than the ordinary day. You're my paradise. Let me take you to the places you've been wishing. Catching sunsets as we ride the waves. Swear it's gonna steal our hearts away. You're my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. You're my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. You're my paradise. My paradise, my paradise. My paradise, Malaysia, truly Asia.
Gopeng is basically situated beside Titi Wangsa Range, and so we were blessed with Sungai Kampar, where we run our whitewater rafting.
Go to that rock, quickly grab your jacket.
UNIMAP menerajui kejuruteraan dan teknologi untuk kemanusiaan.
2002, Kementerian meluluskan penubuhan College Universiti Kejuruteraan Utara Malaysia IPTA yang ke-17 di Malaysia. 2007, penjenamaan semula KUKUM kepada Universiti Malaysia Perlis. UNIMAP menawarkan program pengajian peringkat diploma, sarjana muda, sarjana dan doktor falsafah. Kini UNIMAP beroperasi di 3 kampus utama, Kampus Alam Pau Putra, Kejuruteraan Komputer dan Perhubungan, Kejuruteraan Pembuatan, Kejuruteraan Sistem Elektrik,
UNIMAP, leading engineering and technology for humanity.
In 2002, the Ministry approved the establishment of College Universiti Kejuruteraan Utara Malaysia, KUKUM, the 17th public university in Malaysia. In 2007, KUKUM was rebranded as UNIMAP. UNIMAP offers programs of study leading to the award of diploma, bachelor's, master's and PhD degrees. UNIMAP operates in 3 main campuses: Nature Campus Pau Putra, Computer and Communication Engineering, Manufacturing Engineering, Electrical System Engineering, Microelectronic Engineering, Mechatronic Engineering. Unicity Nature Campus, Faculty of Engineering Technology, School of Diploma Studies, City Campus, Materials Engineering, Bioprocess Engineering, Environmental Engineering, Business Innovation and Technopreneurship, Human Development and Techno-Communication. UNIMAP continuously carries out research that brings benefit to all. Nanotechnology research in UNIMAP looks into faster, easier and more accurate detection of microbiological diseases. The HPV-CC kit has high sensitivity that allows early detection of cervical cancer through saliva. With the application of greenhouse technology, the Sustainable Agro Technology Institute has developed a method to enable the Perlis harum manis to be harvested all year long. A greenhouse monitoring system has been built to regulate temperature, humidity, and level of carbon dioxide to create an environment conducive for the growth and maturity of the fruits. A bus monitoring system developed by the UNIMAP Center of Excellence for Advanced Sensor Technology facilitate efficient monitoring of the movement of university buses for students. Under UNIMAP's social responsibility programs, an alternative energy source kit known as EPS kit has been developed. Each year, UNIMAP produces alumni whose presence is felt the world over, in many parts of the world.
Even though it's a different industry, different profession, but we still need the soft skill, the leadership skill that we learned, that we were taught in school during our university days. It's a lesson learned. We were taught as we through this life.
Being graduate from UNIMAP, it really helps me in adapting to the working environment, and it helps me speeding up my learning curve. And I think the best thing about UNIMAP is they don't just teach you, they prepare you.
The soft skills, problem-solving analysis, as well as a lot of hands-on practical that we practice, it will help the graduates to be more confident when they graduated later on.
The levers in UNIMAP actually helped me a lot for this business. So here I want to thank UNIMAP for give me a very good education for me. UNIMAP mantap.
UNIMAP researchers are globally recognized, evident through the acquisition of numerous international grants.
UNIMAP is my first choice because the programs offered here are focused and they fulfill the expectation of the industry.
Apart from academic and research, which are the university core business, sport, culture and volunteerism are also given due to the attention. It's up to the student to choose which field he or she want to immerse into.
The success and achievements thus far have placed UNIMAP on the world stage.
We are proud of our numerous achievements, including being recognized as the world's top 700. Guided by our core values of knowledge, sincerity, and excellence, UNIMAP will become even better and stronger towards a brighter future for all. UNIMAP, mantap!
and welcome to another episode of Featured Destinations. And what an amazing time we had earlier today going around Selangor and hunting for great food. But right now we are at the heart of Kuala Lumpur, where it is known to have exceptional food. Now, word on the street is that this very street behind me right now, when the sun goes down, it will be hustling and bustling with full of activities as well as amazing food. Now, I can't wait to show you this place, so welcome to Jalan Alor Food Street. Now I've got this 50 ringgit in my hand. My producer specifically told me that this is all I'm gonna get. And with this money, I'll have to see what I want to buy it with. There's so many good stalls here. Like walking down the street, all that sensation, that smell that comes to you is just so tempting. And especially when you're hungry, I don't know if I can make good decisions when I'm hungry. Well, 50 ringgit, challenge accepted, so here we go. Wow, look at that, all the colors. Is there fish?
Yeah, this gray fish, green one chicken.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 of this for 6 ringgit. I'm about to make my first transaction of the night. Thank you. Right, so next stop. Fresh pomegranates. I'm gonna get one for myself. This is 15 ringgit, so my balance is 28 ringgit. Let's see what we can find with 28 ringgit. So these are one of the most popular fruits in Southeast Asia. They're called durians, and if you don't know them very well, they smell very pungent and they have a very soft texture to it. Anyways, it's one of my favorite fruits, but with 28 ringgit, this is way above my budget. It's like 20 ringgit over here and 25 and 30, so no, let's look for my main course. Hi, can you give me one coconut ice cream? So that was 11 ringgit spent. So I've spent 33 ringgit on dessert, my fresh cup of pomegranate juice, and also some street dim sums. So I haven't gotten my main course yet, which is why I'm here at Wong Awa restaurant, because I'm going to choose from their elaborate menu what I am going to have and what fits my budget as well. So I'm going to select the Hokkien Mee for my main course because that's one of my favorite dishes ever. And it's fried, it's basically fried noodles, like thick fried noodles with black sauce. So everything here is what my production team ordered for themselves. They ordered the famous chicken wings that are available in this restaurant. Really good fried rice as well, that this place is famous for. An egg. This is also really yummy. It's just coconut ice cream. I had that earlier. And fried durian. But yeah, it looks like they don't have any Hokkien Mee, do they? Do they? So I'm just gonna eat my food. And I have 8 ringgit left, and it's gonna be really interesting to see what I use it for. So stay tuned.
Is your water?
And I get a bottle of water. Thanks. So is this your first time here to Jalan Alor?
It is, yes, the very first time.
So how do you find the place?
It's amazing. This is just a spur of the moment holiday, and we decided to come down here, and we've enjoyed every second of it.
Wow.
It's really good.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What are the foods that you've tried so far?
I've tried some The noodle dishes are really good, and I really like them and enjoy them.
Char kway teow?
Char kway teow, yeah. It's really nice.
Durian.
Yeah.
Durian.
And rambutan and dragon fruit.
How about the ice creams? Have you tried the coconut ice
Oh
cream?
yes, I tried it. And I also had the fried ice cream, which is really cool.
Wow,
And how they
lovely.
make it's really cool. The coconut water was really nice in the coconuts. The fresh
Like that, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, well thank you so much everybody. We hope that you have a great time for the rest of your holiday. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I've just finished my really delicious Hokkien Mee over at Wong Awa. And in my hands right now I have 8 ringgit left. So what I plan to buy with these, I was thinking some really nice Chinese dessert. Let's see what they have. And that wraps up my amazing food journey over here in Jalan Alor. And surprisingly, I still have 6 ringgit left after all that amazing food. Now, if you're planning to come on over here, I don't think that one evening is enough for you because there's just so many things to look at and to experience for yourself. My name is Daniela, and if you are looking for a great time in KL, don't forget to check out our other videos on trulyasia.tv. My name is Daniela, and this has been Featured Destinations. Jumpa lagi.
There is a tale of a legendary island in Malaysia, a place blessed by the eco-diversity of Mother Nature, where it holds untold natural secrets, hidden gems and lush scenic treasures for its visitors. Your journey here will take you to its highest peak, to bear witness a magnificent view from amongst the clouds. Then be still in the moment and open your eyes to its majestic, unseen wildlife. And marvel as the sun sets on your beautiful voyage here. Because this land is no myth. This is the true legend of Langkawi.
Hello guys, and good evening if you are in Malaysia, and probably good morning or good day, much more easier. I'm Shazwan. I will hosting for this session, which is Felipe Borgas, our speaker, will be presenting GNOME boxes, which is introducing the main feature of GNOME boxes itself and describe how the developers can benefit from it in their development workflow. So I think, Mr. Felipe, if you're ready.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna get started. I've been developing this application for the last few years called GNOME Boxes. It's a GNOME application that allows you to run virtual machines. In this presentation, I want to show you the basic features and how you can use boxes to either... are people having problem with the sound? I see on the chat. Can people confirm whether you can hear me?
No, I'm can hear you, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably
So
you can hear us on YouTube or try to get in or get out and in again. So continue, Mr. Pepe.
all right. So GNOME boxes can help you in your everyday life if you still need to use Windows for certain reasons, or if you need to test distributions. And as a developer, you probably have to target various platforms. So sometimes you're developing applications and you want to try these on a specific browser that runs in a proprietary platform like Microsoft Edge on Windows, or back in the days Internet Explorer, or if you want to test various Linux distributions and things like this. So boxes can help you workflow with that, and I want to show you a bit how that can be useful in your everyday life. So first, my name is Felipe Borges. I work for Red Hat on the desktop team, so I work full-time on GNOME. I'm very lucky to be able to spend my working hours working on GNOME. I work in various fronts. I work on the settings in GNOME. So if you are ever setting a printer in GNOME or adding a user account on the settings panel, various other things. I also am maintaining GNOME boxes, GNOME connections. So there's a little bit of bits in GNOME that you might have been exposed that I have been working on. I mostly work in GNOME boxes. That's my main priority in my job. So GNOME boxes has this very nice, easy downloads feature. I don't need to get much into the deep details because this is not supposed to be a technical talk, but the magic of GNOME boxes is that we have this database of operating systems, and we have this automatic script that is able to parse, is able to interpret an image of an operating system and tell which operating system that is, and match to our entry in this database. And this is a very powerful mechanism because this allows us to describe which drivers, which memory requirements each operating system has. And this allows us to remove this from the user. Most times when you're using VirtualBox or VMware or even Virt Manager, you are actually having to guess like which video driver Windows 10 supports, which video driver OpenSUSE 15 supports, and then how much memory is necessary, a lot of things that are operating system internals. And sometimes you just want to run a browser, sometimes you want to play an indie game, sometimes you want to open something on Microsoft Office, and you might not be interested in knowing operating system internals. And that's what Box is for. It's for people who want to be able to spin virtual machines, run other operating systems, without actually having to take an operating system class before they start playing with it. And this database also allows us to actually index the URL of the images that are publicly available on the internet. So most of Linux distributions are freely downloadable. So in boxes, you can actually go there and download Fedora, Debian, Ubuntu, and this saves a lot of time from actually having to search things on the internet and finding the right operating system. Express installation is also another magic bit about boxes. We develop a bunch of scripts that are specific to each operating system that is able to teach the installer of the operating system how to operate on its own. So boxes has a set of defaults, like a set of requirements that the operating system needs to have, and then Box is able to install these operating systems for you. So for instance, we currently support Fedora, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Debian, Ubuntu, OpenSUSE, and Windows 7, 8, and 10, which means that you can just point boxes to an image of these operating systems, click on this Express installation option, and just go for a coffee, and Boxes is going to download the drivers, is going to create the partition tables for you, is going to start the operating system, and by the time you're going to get a notification, by the time this is done, you're going to get a notification saying your installation is complete. You click on it, and you are able to start using the operating system. I work as a developing Fedora and Red Hat Enterprise Linux at Red Hat, and it's very painful having to install the operating system various times. Sometimes I do this multiple times a day, so having to go through the next install, create partition, select language, select keyboard, select the time zone, select whether you want to share location, share whatever. It's a lot of work, so this is a very nice tweak for people who just want to have an operating system and just get going. If you want something more advanced, I totally understand that Boxes might not be for you, so I hope you also have in mind that this is a use case that a majority of users have, but it's not for everybody. sharing files. It's very convenient that you might want to share files between a virtual machine and your host. You are working on something on your computer with your settings, with your text editor, with your great tooling, and you just want to be able to drop those files in that virtual machine and just try over there. I can imagine that you are a Windows developer and you are using Linux on your desktop, so you might actually drop the files there and compile them there and things like this. So this is a very interesting mechanism, and in Boxes you can actually drag the files from your host, like from the outside, into the virtual machine, into the guest. You usually use this vocabulary in the virtual machine world that is a host and guest. So the guest is usually the virtual machine, the system that is being virtualized, and the host is your computer. So another features that we have is a clone. So you can create a virtual machine and you can actually make a exact copy of that machine. That's also very useful if you want to have different settings for different machines, but start from a common point. And snapshots, I think the snapshots is a very underrated feature that it's very useful in my workflow, that allows me to set these restoring periods in time, and I'm able to just get back to them. So I am actually in the following slides going to show a little bit of how that works in practice. I'm gonna try to do some screen sharing and show Boxes. So in the recent version of Boxes, we just released 3.38 in GNOME, and we added a couple features that are very interesting for users. That this explicitly identify the operating system is also a very nice feature that sometimes Boxes is not going to be able to identify our operating system, mostly because it's not in our database. So those can be unusual or not popular operating systems, or can be development versions of operating systems, things like this. So Boxes now allows you to actually tell us which operating system that is, and then we can match to a similar operating system in the database. So that's also pretty useful. And then we have this XML editor embedded that allows you to go deep and actually configure all the possibilities of the virtual machine. So if you know exactly what you are doing, this editor can actually turn Boxes into a very powerful tool for advanced users, even not just for the ones who want to get something going with a couple clicks. Yeah, we also now can run these key call disks. So virtual machines are usually stored in Linux in these key call files, and you can just double click this file and you're gonna get the operating system running right from where it is. So this is also very nice if you can prepare a virtual machine and then you can just send this virtual machine to a friend of yours, and then your friend can just double click and have an operating system running with the apps you install, with the configurations you install, like an identical run of the operating system you have. So that's something I find very powerful. And then the next version of GNOME is going to be 40. So we changed the version scheme. That's why it might sound strange that we went from 338 to 40. But yeah, it's the next version. It's going to probably come in March, I think, next year. And we're going to finally have this possibility to export the VM. So you're actually going to be able to click on the VM and say, I want to send this over email, I want to store this in Google Drive, or I want to just get this file and copy it to a flash drive or something like this. So this is going to make virtual machines very portable. And the remote connections, Boxes used to be able to do remote connections. So instead of just having virtual machines, you also used to be able to type an address of another machine and connect over the remote desktop technologies. So that is to support VNC for Linux to Linux, and also RDP, which is from Linux to Windows. And now we have a brand new app that does it, that I am also the main developer of it. And the idea is that we can have a more specialized application for remote connections and have Boxes be more specialized in virtual machines. So that's a big change that you might perceive if you've been using Boxes already for some time. Another change that we are landing now is UEFI for all the operating systems that support this. So this is important for a lot of features that depend on secured boot. Well, my cat is trying to break into the room. Yeah, he's able to open doors, so that's a problem. So right, let's get to demo time. I'm gonna try to share my screen, and this is usually the moment where things go wrong in a presentation. So let's hope everything is gonna go all right. I have tried this one, so it should work. All right, so Yeah, by this time you should be seeing my screen, so that's nice. So this is GNOME Boxes. Here in the very corner on the top, you can create a virtual machine. Boxes is already smart enough to detect that you have some files on your disk that are operating systems. So we are detecting those files and already matching them to our database and putting like friendly usernames with vendor information, logos for some of them. Here are a lot of the files I have because I happen to work with virtualization, so I end up downloading a lot of operating systems, right? The feature downloads, we have this section here where each distribution that distributes boxes gets to select which operating systems they want to promote to the users. So in case I'm running Fedora, we are promoting Fedora and Fedora-related distributions like Red Hat Enterprise Linux and Fedora Silverblue. But if you're using this in Ubuntu, they might be promoting Ubuntu, Debian, or other spins of Ubuntu. It's up to the distributor to decide which operating systems they have in this session. You can also select the files automatically from the disk, so you can just open a file chooser and select. And here you have, in the operating system downloads, you're exposed to the whole database. So in this case, I would be able to search for Debian, for various versions of Debian. I'll be able to search for OpenSUSE. So you just click this operating system and you can start downloading it and start an installation. One of the workloads that I think that is more common for boxes is Windows, that people have some things that only can run on Windows and they are resistant to migrate to Linux because they need a Windows machine to be able to work on. So boxes is very useful if you want to have Windows, because you can just have your Windows here in this nice window. You can even put it in full screen and suddenly your computer it's a Windows operating system. And the nice thing about this is that Boxes installs this agent driver on Windows, which means that there is a communication going on between the guest operating system and GNOME Boxes. So if I change the Windows size here, it's going to take a little while, but suddenly Windows is going to resize itself to fit the Windows size. So things are like getting resized. I could have an even small version of Windows here where everything is a miniature. And this offers various other benefits. Like you see now that the resolution is fitting to the screen. But other benefits that this integration offers is the file sharing that I had before on the slides, the drag and drop. So for example, here I have a PDF of my presentation, this one that you've been seeing before. And I can just drag it into Windows here. And now it's here on the desktop area, this PDF. I imagine that on Windows I would have to install a PDF viewer or something to be able to open it, but trust me, this is the file. So this is something that is very useful. Another thing that is very useful is if I would go to the properties, I can also set a folder sharing. So I would be able to just select a location in my operating system, in my Linux operating system, and expose this folder into Windows. So let's say I want to expose my public folder, which means that the files that are present on the public folder here on my desktop, these files are going to be available on the Windows file browser. So as soon as I add this, I can just close this dialog and open the Windows equivalent to file browser. I'm very not familiar with the Windows vocabulary. So here I can see already the public folder. So all those files that I had on Linux are now available here. So you can see the benefits of these, that you can be having a source code on your desktop and expose the source code on Windows and then compile on Windows, and vice versa. Also Linux on Linux, right? If you are developing things, or sometimes you actually want to do system development and you don't want to break your operating system. You don't want to install things that can prevent you from doing other work. So for example, I have Fedora Silverblue here. Actually, this one is already 32. I have upgraded and I haven't changed the name. But so this is another operating system that I'm running virtualized. I can do all the same things. I can drag and drop files into it. Let's wait for it to start. Yeah, there we go. And it also has the very same features as the Windows guests have, that the resolution gets adapted, that I have file sharing. The performance is also pretty decent when you are running applications. I can enable animations even. So for instance, if I would have my presentation PDF here, I would also be able to just drop here and it appears on the virtual machine. I will probably have to install a PDF viewer. So the very last feature that I wanted to show you in this demo is the snapshots. You can see that I'm running Fedora Silverblue 32 here, because if I open the settings, I'm able to go here and show you that that's the GNOME version that is available. And also, if I would open a terminal, I will be able to do a... You see, that's Fedora 32. But before I upgraded to 32, just to be sure that things were going to work just nice, I created a snapshot. So here in the snapshot tabs, I have moments in time where I can revert to. So I'm going to choose this Fedora 31 version, which is the initial state that I was before I upgraded. And I'm going to revert to the state. So I'm going to wait a little bit, and Boxes is going to just make the operating system travel back in time to the point where I had Fedora 31. One way to spot that this is a time travel is really the time on your desktop, that as soon as the reverting works, I'm going to be able to see that this is 30th of April. This is the moment where I performed the upgrade in this virtual machine. So you see the wallpaper change, because in Fedora 31, the wallpaper was a different one. Even the settings here, it was a completely different design that was an upgrade. So it's very convenient for me to be able to develop something in Fedora 31 and then get back to Fedora 32. So now I could simply go back to Fedora 32 by just clicking here and waiting for it to get back to it. And I can perform various changes and just create a new snapshot. Let's say I would change the wallpaper to this snowy one that happens to be here in our country. And I will create a snapshot. I can also assign human readable names for the snapshots. They are usually created based on the date, but I could also add a name to it, saying something like, this is the moment where I did the upgrade. This is the moment where I installed this malware that could have destroyed my system. So you can just create your own log and be able to revert things there. While the snapshots being created, we can also explore this session here, that you can tweak the memory and the disk size, the amount of CPUs. You can let the operating system running, so you can close Boxes and the operating system is going to be running on the background. 3D acceleration is also something we have for great performance. It doesn't work in all the operating systems, so you're only going to see the settings in operating systems that support 3D acceleration. That's also an interesting characteristic of Boxes, that only exposes settings that are supported by the operating system that you're running. So it's trying to prevent you from shooting yourself in the foot, as we usually use in the vocabulary. So, okay, so the snapshots seem to be done here. So I would be able to revert back to 32 and get rid of the wallpaper change that I just did. It's a very costly way of doing that, but that's doable. Another possibility I would be able to is just to enter a CD into the operating system. So let's say I have here a Fedora Silverblue ISO. So I would be able to pass this CD DVD image to it, and suddenly I got a notification here that it's available, so I can open with files. So I am also able to pass things from my hardware into my virtual machine. You can also pass the webcam. You can also do USB redirection. We also do smart card support. I'm aware that some banks run very specific gates for connecting to their online banking, that you need to use a smart card with a specific Java application that only runs on Windows certain version. So that's also a use case for virtual machines, that you can connect with the smart card reader and be able to pass the information from the card reader directly into the virtual machine. So let me get back to the presentation, because I haven't been reading any chat in a while. So these are the things I wanted to present you, and I guess I could take some questions and do some talking if there is still some time left.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Mr. Philip. So I guess there's a question for you, but before we jump to the question, this is just personal question for me, because I've used Box primarily on Fedora 20, because if I'm not mistaken, Fedora started using GNOME 3 since Fedora 15, and then so on, so on, so on, and then if I remember, I've used it on Federal 20, which is still not really that intuitive. So I'm just on my curious. Is there any settings on network that I can do pass through or anything related on those KVM or others VM manager?
Yes, we can do USB redirection and PCI pass-through. PCI pass-through is a little bit harder because
Okay, so back to the question. So there's one question here. I think this is the only question. Is core boot supported?
Core boot supported? Yes, not yet. Just for certain operating systems, you can manually configure to get that booting. So I've seen it yet, but it's not automatically. So you actually need to go to the XML editor and change the firmware for booting and provide the proper keys and all the core boot things. So yeah, it's not something that is automatically supported yet, but it's definitely something we want to support in a future version.
Okay, okay. So another question that while you were talking, there's another question. So how is GPU or 3D support for this process?
Yeah, so for operating systems that support virtual drivers, the virtualization drivers for QEMU, we can support Virgil, and Virgil allows for 3D acceleration. So we support 3D acceleration for Windows, for Fedora, for Ubuntu. PCI pass-through for you to run GPUs is something that we still don't have automatically, but if you are able to tell your bootloader to unload the driver, and then the driver your operating system boots with a dedicated GPU that is not loaded, you are able to pass it through boxes by just toggling a button. Box is going to detect that this GPU is there, and you're going to toggle this button and pass it through. So the only remaining part that we want to do in boxes is to make boxes smart enough to unload a GPU driver and reboot the operating system and do the GPU pass-through. But yeah, if you are a little bit advanced on virtualization technologies, you might be able to do GPU pass-through with boxes for gaming, for instance, or for heavy graphic workloads.
Understood. So quite interesting. So I think that's all. I think there's one. I think there's another question. Oh no, it's just a response. So the responder say thank you. So I think this is I think for the session this is the only question, which is the session makes me intrigued to back to GNOME and try this again, this feature again, hopefully. So thank you, Mr. Philip. So we are ready for next session. So again, thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
So our next session will be on micro OS. Will be probably start within around 5 minutes. So if you guys can wait for a second, would be cool. Okay, see you again.
Hello. Can somebody make me presenter so I can... There we go, thank you.
Yeah, just on the
Perfect.
Testing. Okay. So my clock says we have another 4 minutes to go. Another 4 minutes before we can start. So please wait. Richard, if you're okay, do you want to start now?
No, more than happy to wait a few minutes. I just wanted to make sure the slides uploaded.
Okay.
All good.
Excuse me. Okay, I need to work on my microphone. Okay. Hello again. And this is me, Dr. Izham. So, hi, Richard. So I think we can start now. So, I'll be recording this session. And of course, as before, if you have any personal question that you want to ask, you may write them on the chat notes. And without further ado, please, Mr. Richard.
Okay, yeah, more than happy to. Thank you. Yes, hello everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. In my case, good morning. I'm Richard Brown. And I'm here to talk to you about the MicroOS desktop, which is a new project and part of the whole OpenSUSE thing, and we really need GNOME Upstream's help. Some of you should know me already because, I think I've been to like every GWADEC in the last couple of years because, I'm a huge GNOME fan. I've been using GNOME for ages. But the MicroOS desktop is actually one of those fun projects where it's dragging in all of my experience from GNOME and actually tying in with what I do at work. So a little bit about me at work. I've been part of the OpenSUSE project since it began. I've been working for SUSE since 2013, so 7 years now. I'm really passionate when it comes to rolling releases. I think the old-fashioned way of releasing distributions as sort of a regular release and then maintaining it for a bunch of years is, it should die. It just doesn't make any sense to me anymore. And so I'm really lucky and actually have the chance to work on two distributions that are rolling as my day job: OpenSUSE MicroOS, which I'll explain a little bit more, and Cubic, which is basically just a version of OpenSUSE MicroOS focused on all this Kubernetes and containery stuff. So yeah, what is this MicroOS thing? Well, I'm going to start by explaining why we've started building MicroOS, because it kind of helps explain what we're trying to do when you kind of understand the way we see the world now. And in a nutshell, it's really a case of, it's 2020 and computers aren't just, your laptop or your desktop or your server anymore. There's computers embedded in everything, from webcams to the train I took to get home this morning, to planes, trains, automobiles, everything everywhere has computers embedded in it. And the traditional operating systems aren't really designed at all for working in those kind of environments. And then when you think about the traditional Linux, the traditional laptops or desktops or servers, we don't use them the same way anymore. Servers are now, on the cloud. They spin up quickly. They get thrown away quickly. If they are running, there's probably hundreds of them. So you're running for a long time, so there's probably hundreds of them, and you don't want to have to patch or maintain all of these servers. On the laptops and desktop sides, Chromebooks and stuff are more common. So we really wanted to take a step back from just thinking about operating systems the traditional way and what is really needed in this modern age. For example, like I mentioned, IP webcams, we all have one. I'm using a webcam to talk to you now. Have you ever actually updated the firmware on it? I've updated the firmware on this one, but most of the time people don't. There's millions of these devices out there. They're a huge part of the malware and botnet problems that we see these days, because that's what hackers are attacking. They realize there's a computer embedded in these devices. It's very easy for them to exploit the fact that they don't get updated. And one of the reasons why they're not getting updated is because, of course, the manufacturers and the companies behind it are terrified of the possibility of having unhappy customers when that update goes wrong and suddenly they have a brick rather than a webcam. And these kind of problems happen in the real world already at a massive scale. The telecom company in the UK called O2, basically did this on a countrywide scale. They updated all of their mobile phone cell towers in the entire country on the same day, because it's what they always do. They always rolled out updates to make sure everything worked together. Unfortunately, that update they rolled out broke. And it broke in a way that it stopped the next update working. So they ended up with every single customer of every single mobile phone on their network completely unable to use their phone. And the only way of fixing it was literally sending out engineers to every single one of these cell towers. It was incredibly expensive. It took an incredibly long time. And this is, absolute sort of hell on earth with this modern way of doing things. But that's what happens when you don't take care of updates properly. And so, in this new world, we're looking at things, on the desktop side of things like, well, I'll get to that. Things like cloud machines, things like IoT or sort of more single-purpose devices. You've got virtualization, like we've just been talking about in the boxes session right before this one, and you've got sort of the whole containers and cloud-native world sort of really becoming more and more prominent, and not necessarily having operating systems that are perfectly fine-tuned for these new scenarios. On the desktop side of things, you're seeing in some countries a really pronounced trend towards things like Chromebooks, where a much more cut down device with a much more sort of I don't want to use the word limited, but a much more kind of refined, focused operating system, and then the applications are just running on top. And in the USA, that's 60% of what you see in schools now, and that's growing in the rest of the world as well, especially in Asia, in fact. But again, on sort of the Linux side, and what you're seeing is actually the Linux side of things, where you think that open source and free software would be sort of perfectly positioned to grow as well because it can be refined. You're generally seeing it isn't, and in fact, where it used to have, admittedly, a tiny small sliver in academia, that tiny small sliver in 2016 is now even thinner and even smaller in 2018, and even smaller now in 2020. So regular Linux isn't good enough to necessarily deal with this world. Most Linux distributions are like Swiss Army knives. They can do tons of different things. They're designed to do tons of different things, quite often at the same time. And so, you have lots of services, lots of features, but when you have that, you have an increased chance of compatibility issues between those services and between those features. And especially if you get a sort of a more complicated system, a problem with one service can then have a problem with a second service and a third, and you kind of get these sort of cascading failures, which, in an ideal world, you want to avoid as much as you can. And so we've really kind of embraced this idea of single-purpose systems, VM machines, cloud machines, IoT devices. They most of the time are just deployed to do just one job. So why not build an operating system that is designed with the assumption that it's going to do just one job? Quite often patching is ignored in some of those cases where they can just rip and replace. But there are other cases where they want to just deploy it, and then once it's deployed, completely forget about it. And if they need to do more services, they don't go into their original systems and add additional stuff. They typically just add more virtual machines or add more cloud instances or add more IoT devices. Right now, most of the time for this kind of work, you see people handcrafting everything, but this isn't really good enough. You know, building handcrafted Linux distributions for your single thing, you know, is a heck of a lot of work. You have lots of issues with configuration management. It's hard to keep it patched, and optimizing it for hardware is, you know, really hard work. And even when they do it all, you know, nobody does it right. Don't believe what anybody says. Even me and my company, you know, we admit that, you know, we make mistakes, and when those mistakes happen, they need to be They need to be done in a way, like the mistake needs to be allowed to happen in a way that doesn't really get in the way of what that machine is meant to be doing. So we have this philosophy of like anything worth doing is worth to be able to undo. And so the ability to kind of undo any change to the system is just as important as the ability to change the system in the first place. Which kind of also plays into the idea of, well, you know, there's less things that can go wrong with changing a running system if you never actually touch the running system. So in OpenSUSE now we have this wonderful concept called transactional updates, which is sort of the core part of plain microOS, where any change to the system can be applied reliably. You know, it's only going to, it's going to do the entire thing or nothing at all. It's reproducible. If you do this on 20 different machines, it's going to behave exactly the same way. And any one of those changes, you know, can be totally reversed, so your system goes back to, you know, the last working state. And so we have this update mechanism with transactional updates where we never actually touch the running system, because we create a new snapshot on the hard disk and we modify that instead. So the running binaries never get touched, the running libraries never get touched. Changes happen there. You then have a single atomic operation to flip from, you know, current state to the new state. It's a nice simple atomic operation called a reboot. And then as part of that reboot, it checks, you know, did the update actually take effect as it's meant to? If it doesn't, then that snapshot can be thrown away and it can boot back into the system it was booted in previously. So exactly back to how it was before. And so we have this operating system now in OpenSUSE land called microOS, where, you know, basically embracing all of these ideas. You know, it's designed for single purpose. It's got a fully automated update stack where, you know, it applies those updates reliably and automatically recovering when they go wrong. And it's really kind of coming from where we originally started with this, you know, it is really the perfect option for anyone running, you know, single purpose machines, servers, container hosts, stuff like that. In fact, every server in my life, including my server here at home, running my Nextcloud and the like, is all microOS running containers. And as part of that, really, when we got to started using it everywhere like that, I started asking myself, like, well, wait a second, like, a desktop is just one job, right? Like, if you think of a desktop, especially more like a Chromebook, you know, that's an operating system that has the sole purpose of loading up a desktop environment. And right now in traditional Linux, you see a kind of very blurry line where the desktop and the applications and all of that are all kind of controlled or managed or curated by the distribution. But, you know, what if you looked at it differently and just thought, okay, the base operating system and up to the desktop environment is the one thing, and then wouldn't it be lovely if all of the applications were basically something that me as a distribution builder didn't have to worry about, but the user would be able to pick exactly what applications they want and run those, you know, perfectly fine and perfectly happy without any problem. And I just realized I've gone on a tangent without explaining and forgot about this slide. So forget about that for a second. Sorry. So microOS, it's auto updating, auto patching, running everything in my life. And that basic microOS is a rolling release based on OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. So it's always using latest and greatest software, very similar inversions or identical inversions to the OpenSUSE Tumbleweed rolling release. We actually integrate it as part of the Tumbleweed rolling release process. So, if macOS stops working or has a bad day or test fails or something breaks in macOS, nobody gets Tumbleweed updates, and vice versa. If Tumbleweed has a bad day, macOS doesn't get any updates. So it's actually really sort of piggybacking on all of that knowledge we've done on how to do rolling releases for the last 10 years or so, and then distributing this sort of very focused single purpose rolling release with macOS. And therefore, in my view, it's actually in many respects more stable and more reliable than Tumbleweed, because that update mechanism, the atomic updates, the read-only root file system will really play into keeping things even more stable. So yes, what about the desktop? Then, yeah, that thought hit me that I was just talking about earlier. What if macOS had a desktop? What if the one job was a desktop operating system? And what if we kind of defined the distribution part, the OpenSUSE part, really, as the base system with a desktop environment, so GNOME, and just the basic configuration tools from GNOME, not the entire application suite, maybe not even a web browser, just the bare minimum, kind of like you get with, again, Chromebooks or Android, where a factory installed Android doesn't really have much with it. And then the user decides from some application store, where to get all of their applications and which applications do they want. And then, of course, we have in the GNOME ecosystem, this lovely resource of Flatpaks and FlatHub. So, why not use all of the applications from there and really only deliver the bare minimum that we need to from the distribution side of things? And I posed this idea about a year ago, and lots of people have kind of really run with it. It's one of those sort of lovely side projects that's grown heads of its own and moving really quite quickly. But there was some sort of, people getting a little bit nervous. I realize this concept is not for everybody. If you like how traditional Linux works and traditional Linux desktop works and like Tumbleweed and Leap, that's fine. But like I'm finding myself really, really happy using it. It is perfect for lazy developers like me who don't, who still want to use a nice feature-rich desktop, but don't want to have to necessarily mess around with getting everything configured the perfect way and installing the right packages and micromanaging the whole thing. They just want a desktop, they just want GNOME, they just want it to be able to get stuff done. And it's especially true like I am now, where I'm developing around containers. So the operating system is just giving me the basic tools I need, and then everything I am actually doing is inside a container. And then beyond the sort of lazy developer use case, I think there's a real need here for Linux to be appealing more to people who are used to now using things like Android and iOS and Chromebooks, where they've come used to the idea of the operating system isn't something they have to tweak and tune like with Windows or like with traditional Mac or like with Linux. They just get what they're given with the operating system, and it auto updates, and they don't have to worry about that. And the applications are the things they actually care about on top of that. So we've started this project with the macOS desktop. Basically, it's part of the macOS project, but focused specifically on the desktop. We want to take all of the good things we're doing with traditional macOS, so the same reliable update stack, the same predictable and immutable system, just like that. It's going to be, it is part of the Tumbleweed, but it is going to be less customizable than that. Because we have Tumbleweed and because we have Leap, there you can have your crazy, pick and choose everything to the finest detail. With the macOS desktop, we want to be a little bit more opinionated and give users what we think is the best GNOME experience, and that's it. The macOS desktop should be as small as possible. We don't want it to be this bloaty, heavy, chunky thing, taking up lots of resources. But at the same time, we don't want to, cut away functionality that you actually need. So the first couple of versions of macOS, were really tiny, which was great, apart from the fact like printers didn't work because we didn't have any printer drivers. And graphics didn't work great because we didn't have any graphics drivers. So things like printing and gaming and typical desktop use cases, should all work, and all of that should work, out of the box as well. That's the whole point. So you just deploy it, it's done, and it just works, and it takes care of itself, and it patches itself, and the users just get to use the applications they want to use. Where we are right now today in November of 2020, we have images of the macOS desktop that update just like regular macOS. They're reliable, they're predictable, they're mutable, and those images are less customizable than OpenSUSE, Tumbleweed, or Leap. We actually have a couple of flavors. Of course, I only care about the GNOME one, but there is also a KDE version, and there is also talk about other desktop environments. The GNOME one is definitely. I think it's fair to say the GNOME one is the one that definitely has the most activity behind it right now, and whether the other ones survive kind of depends on if they can keep up with that. But any of the versions, however you look at it, it's small, and at the moment it's a little bit too small. Some of the functionality that we want isn't quite there, and the out-of-the-box experience is definitely not where we want it to be, which is basically why I'm here, because we need help, and we really want help from as many GNOME experts and people who care about a nice, clean desktop environment and a desktop experience as possible, because I'm finding it really quite tricky to get this exactly the way things I wanted it to be. The current team is basically 3 people. We've got Fabian, who takes care of the KDE version of the macOS desktop. And then there is Dario and myself, who take care of the GNOME one, and I'm doing the release engineering for all of macOS. So any sort of general issues across the whole macOS desktop ecosystem, I help out there. But if you want to get involved, like in terms of like open roles in this project, like everything's open for help. There's, if you want to work, help us with the GNOME one, please. That's why I'm here. If you're not that interested in GNOME and you want to help with the KDE or other versions, they need help too. Release engineering needs help. We're using OpenQA, but we could do with more OpenQA tests in there specifically for the desktop. We want people to look at the macOS desktop images we have and really help us get that sort of UI and UX polish done. We want more people to be talking about this and going out there marketing it and advocating it. And if there's any other ideas you have, this is one of those proper pure community projects. So if you have other ideas, we want to hear them. This is a fine project to just get involved in and help steer the direction where it could possibly be going. The top issues we have right now, like I mentioned, like the imperfect out-of-the-box experience. The moment the image works and it's there and you can deploy it, and we have some people who are using this as like their daily machine. And in fact, I have a laptop here with it on. I'm not using it for this presentation, but I will probably for the next one that I do. But there's too much configuration required to get it working once you've done that initial installation. Things like adding FlatHub needs to be done. There's no default Flatpak apps. And to be honest, I haven't really figured out a decent way at all to get those two things done out of the box. So really hoping that someone else comes in with a different idea. The transactional update stack that we have in macOS doesn't have any graphical interface at the moment, which kind of a problem, because with the desktop you kind of want to at least be notified when there's an update waiting, so you know when to reboot your laptop. So some kind of notification widget or package kit integration would be really nice. For some reason that I can't explain, and I've spent like weeks on this, but I still haven't figured it out. Our policy kit rules in the macOS desktop seem like way stricter than they should be, and also way stricter than they are in regular OpenSUSE. So I don't know where that's gone wrong, but you end up with things like way too many root password prompts. So you ask to shut down the machine and it asks you for the root password, and like that totally goes against everything we're trying to do here. And at the moment we haven't got any sort of nice, simple sort of existing appliance or VM images, so people can just like download a VM image and try it in a virtual machine, or an appliance image they can just download it and like install it on a Raspberry Pi, or install it on a Pinebook, like the laptop I just showed you. The Pinebook image is probably going to be done quite soon, because that's why I've got the Pinebook here. But generally speaking, we want to be able to support like a lot of these sort of small Chromebook and Pinebook and single board computing like devices, like just right away out of the box. In GNOME, despite my best efforts, although someone else is looking at this after I talked about it yesterday, RPMs are still showing in GNOME software. So, we only want to be showing Flatpaks in GNOME software, but at the moment it's like still showing all of the OpenSUSE RPMs as well, which is really confusing, especially as you can't install them because they don't work with transactional updates. The Nautilus is showing like a whole bunch of system mounts, so like it shows like all of the subvolumes from BTRFS, which doesn't happen in regular OpenSUSE, and I don't know how it's appeared inside MicroOS Desktop. So if anybody can explain to me like how Nautilus decides which mount points to show on the left-hand side, that would be great, because I really want to just have it show what the user should be showing. And we haven't quite got it correctly set up with like populating the dock on the left-hand side. So that's like totally empty, which is great for the user who wants to customize everything, but we would like it to have like at least things like GNOME software there, so users can immediately know that's where they get their apps. Like I mentioned earlier, like way too much manual configuration. Like this is like the minimum configuration required to get MicroOS working in GNOME like the way we want it to. So you have a whole, every time a new user logs into MicroOS on GNOME, because we haven't figured out how to automate this yet, they have to set these bunch of G settings, which basically reconfigures GNOME software to behave the way we want it to. Installing Flatpak applications for the user, not messing around with system updates because transactional updates taking care of that, and doing things like hiding away the repository updates and flushing out the stuff that we're not using because we're not using RPMs, and then adding Flatpak. And then, this is kind of our current workaround for the whole issues of RPMs appearing inside GNOME software, which we really want to get rid of. And like I keep on saying, the team wants sort of the operating system to be like totally sort of small but feature complete. And right now, whenever we find there's a feature missing, our default kind of mode is, okay, how do we do this in regular OpenSUSE and just add the package that we haven't put in MicroOS Desktop. But I kind of realize that isn't that works all right when we're bootstrapping things up. It might not be the most efficient way of doing things long term. I like the idea of using more Flatpaks by default, but then that leads to the question of like, what is the best way to install a Flatpak by default on a system? And I haven't really been able to find anybody who gives me like a straight answer on that. So I figured to talk at a GNOME conference, ask the question, and I'm more than interested in anybody's answer to that. Because I totally admit with this, I don't necessarily always entirely know what I'm doing. I've got this lovely idea. I really want to get this thing nice and polished and out there, but I can't do it all on my own. And some of this is digging into parts of GNOME that I either haven't looked at for years or never looked at. And so I really appreciate sort of any help, any advice, and I don't want anybody thinking, oh, Richard's got a plan and he's going to go ahead and do it. I don't. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just know where I want this to be at the end. Anybody kind of contributing? This is sort of a slide for sort of future reference. There's basically two packages inside the OpenSUSE build service that is the most helpful. Patterns MicroOS is where the desktop patterns are, so you can see which packages in OpenSUSE we install for the GNOME MicroOS desktop. And OpenSUSE MicroOS in develop cubic images in the OpenSUSE build service is where all the application or the appliance and VM images are defined. So like that's where the Pinebook image is going to be when I finish it. And that's where we want to have kind of more easy self-installing images. We also already have, by the way, fully working like traditional ISO like CD or USB stick installers. They work fine, and that installation workflow is defined by this SCO CD control microOS. So any changes that need to happen there with things like partition layout or packages or patterns that get installed there or configuration, that's where we modify that, or in the patterns which then get used by that. And then if you want to contribute, most of this all started originally as part of the Cubic project. So the microOS version that now just focuses on Kubernetes. So you can find all of the group on the OpenSUSE Cubic mailing list, or on Cubic IRC, or working in those two projects in the build service. And I heard someone crumpling their microphone, but that's fine because I've just finished. So does anybody have any questions?
Oh, that was me, Richard. Sorry.
No worries. Perfect timing.
Okay. I think this is a very nice presentation, and I have a question of my own, but I think you should look at the shared notes, and there's a lot of questions for you.
I saw Luna saying people want a Gen 2 that boots Chrome. Yeah, maybe they do, but a Gen 2 that boots Chrome isn't going to be as secure as an OpenSUSE that does this. So.
How about question number 1 in the chat notes, not in the public chat?
Oh, in the chat notes. Sorry, I was not looking at this.
There's 5 questions for you.
Oh, cool, brilliant.
Yeah, people are really listening.
Yeah, sorry, I completely missed this entirely. Okay, so how would I market OpenSUSE to people using Fedora and Debian-based operating systems? Well, compared to both Fedora and Debian, OpenSUSE microOS is faster moving. Because it's based on Tumbleweed, you're getting upstream innovations far more quickly. So you're getting security updates quicker, you're getting new features quicker. But on the flip side, OpenSUSE has a far more robust testing regime than both Fedora and Debian with like OpenQA. So none of those updates happen unless we know it doesn't break what people are using. So it's the sort of better way to use open source software and keep up with what's really going on in this open source world. Question number 2, unless someone's got a follow up with that. Question number 2, in general, we think a microkernel, we think embedded devices. Is it best to use a rolling release for that stuff? I admit to there being different opinions on this question. So in addition to OpenSUSE microOS, there is soon to be a SUSE microOS, which is a regular release. And I think for some very conservative customers, they are going to buy it and they're going to like it and they'll be happy. In my personal opinion, a very opinionated opinion, yes, rolling releases are the best way to do this, because you don't want to have some machine out there in the wild for 20 years running an ancient kernel that's been broken for 10 of those 20 years or 15 of those 20 years. So I really believe the right way of doing software these days is to have a rolling release. Maybe not necessarily running as fast as Tumbleweed does, but definitely have it all possibly updating. And yeah, have that as a core part of your way of thinking. Change is impossible to avoid, and with microOS the change is far less scary, because if it does break anything, it automatically heals itself, so who cares? How resource hungry it is as it's running containers, it's perfectly resource light. I mean, because the operating system is so lightly tuned, like traditional microOS without the desktop stuff, we're talking about like an image which is like under 500 megabytes as of disk space. There isn't that much there to use resources. And then of course, okay, containers use up maybe a little bit more disk space than old-fashioned ways of doing things, but disk space is relatively cheap and deduplication is really quite easy. So yeah, I would say it's about the same as a traditional desktop, but maybe a little bit more resource heavy, but it's also way less user heavy. The user doesn't have to manage those resources anyway, so it takes care of itself better, so who cares if it's using up a little bit more resources. Question 4. How about scientific computing like CUDA and OpenCL? Is
That was from me.
Does Micro have enough driver support for that? Mostly. Biggest issue is of course like NVIDIA drivers, as always. But yeah, but we have traditional MicroOS has drivers and support for that. So yeah, it's there. How about having snaps in GNOME software for MicroOS? I'm just going to be totally biased and opinionated. No, never. I really do not like snaps. I've said lots of nasty things about snaps, Flatpak, and app image in the past. I take back every nasty thing I said about Flatpak. I do not take back a single nasty thing I said about snap or app image. And number 6, do I think Tumbleweed is stable than Debian stable? Yes, absolutely. I've had Debian stable machines break on me. I've never had a Tumbleweed one break on me. So, yeah.
Okay, Richard, thank you very much for your presentation and your answer. I think it was a generous session. You're very generous with your time.
Yeah, so, sorry for going a little bit over. Thank you
No. I mean, there's 6 questions. People are really listening.
Good.
Okay, I think that concludes our evening session. We will move on to our cooking class, which is our social event for this evening. And again, thank you, Richard, for the presentation. And we'll start the next session 15 minutes from now. Thank you, Richard. Okay, Shazan. Siapa? Amiza kan?
Sejahtera sealun senada Malaysia. Segala perlulah di sini, di Malaysia. Adik kakak buat patah bagi Malaysia. Visit to the Asia, selamat datang ke Malaysia.
So Amiza, is that you? Hello. Amir, tolong. Wait. 836.
Puan Amiza, can you unmute yourself? You're still mute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Amiza, is that you?
Yes, it's me. Can you listen to me or not? Easier?
Okay. Hello.
Yes,
Hi.
loud and clear.
Okay. All right. Okay. So joining us for our social event session, we will have our cooking class with Miss is Miss Amiza, right?
Mrs.
Mrs. Amiza. All right. Mrs. Amiza. Okay. Sorry. You look young.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to let you take the show. So please show us what's for dinner.
Right. Can I start now, or just need to wait another 1 2 minutes?
Yes. Please.
Okay. All right. Hi guys. My name is Amiza Madzin. I'm from Melaka, origin in Melaka. As you know from the website, I actually an educator. I'm teaching computer network while right now in business faculty. So I'm here today with my kids. See, the chef is actually, she's the chef. This is my second child, Arisha. Okay, and also another child of mine. She's second. I've lost my one. Okay, and with me is actually my husband and my one and only son. Okay. So for our dinner, so normally when you don't have much time, you will probably try to get all these grab food, grab food, you grab here, you grab there. But actually, okay, from what I've learned for the past, as I grow up, the best thing in our life is actually making our homemade food. Okay, because you can control the intake of food. Okay, you can add more nutrition in food, because I am actually not a nutritionist, but I'm very keen in nutrition, and also as part of my business, I do make use of my products. Okay, for our daily lives. So right now for today, for this special session for 1 hour, hopefully it will enough for 1 hour. I will show to you, actually my little chef here, she will show to you how to make a very simple pizza in a blink. I will say the name of the pizza is Bling Bling Pizza. You don't ask, this is not Blackpink, okay? They're not Bling Bling Blackpink, no. But this is pizza using very high performance multi-cooker Noxa multi-pressure cooker. All right, it's very easy, very I would say while you're watching TV, you also can make pizza. All right, so no need for making such the pan make difficult bread for the crust, very easy crust. Okay, now so the second recipe for today is actually a simple banana shake. All right, it's a banana shake, but I think also very powerful tools in my house. I have this Philip processor to blend all the drinks and to make the sheets. All right, so as a start, idea. Okay, so as a start, I have the ingredients first. If you can go through the website, you will see the list of the ingredients. Okay, so I start with. Sorry, I'm here in my own. All right, so I start with the flour, okay, plain flour for 1 cup. I have the capsicum, also the mushroom, the butter mushroom. Okay, here I have cuts of from the slice of chicken. All right, then yeast for only one teaspoon. Salt, yes, salt, and also this is pizza topping. We have mozzarella and cheddar all together combined with parmesan. All right, and also of course the simplest one is the bolognese sauce, or you can have also any other pizza sauce as long as it comes out red. Okay, so as a start, my daughter will show to you how to. We start with the batter. Okay, so we add in the flour, 1 cup of flour. Okay, right. Then 1 teaspoon of salt. One more. Okay, right. We can mix this together with 1 cup of water. Inside, huh? Alright. Right, so we mix everything together, just like making cekodok. You know, cekodok? We just mix up. Make it fast, my dear. Alright, this batter, no need to make it like a bread dough. We need to make like a bread dough. It's a simple batter. Just mix everything together. Okay. Okay, make sure the mixture getting all comes out. Mix well. Okay. This is very easy. 15 minutes of making the pizza, right? And just yeast, okay? 3 spoon. 1. Okay, because of the teaspoon it's actually 1/3 of the teaspoon, so I asked her to add in 3 teaspoons of 1/3 of teaspoon. Okay, just mix. All right, if you start your cooking around 6 o'clock, this batter will need to be rest for 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. Okay. All right. No need. For additional, later on we can add the olive oil. All right. She's a very keen helper. You know, sometimes when I'm not around in the house, I just ask her to like bake anything. You can cook anything using this GNOME pressure cooker. All right. So I just go to this my BB, my helper, the biggest help the whole world. Okay. This is the multi pressure cooker. It have 10 setting. We have soup, meat, we can stew. All right. We can bake cakes. Then you can use low pressure to make like soup, or even you can make curry. Okay. And stir fry, you can easily cook without using gasoline, right? So direct you can stir, you can fry your chicken, fish, whatever type of frying. Okay, you also can make, you can cook rice, multigrain, okay, and porridge, easy porridge. You can use for steam, any steaming, chicken steam, whatever steam, and also slow cook. For those who love having slow cooking method, you can use slow cook. Plus, you have this here manual. Manual means that you can use it manually. You don't need to preset anything. Just press this manual button and make use of the timing. This is plus minus for timing. Okay, and you can delay your cook since we're using the slow cook or even the low pressure. You can delay your your cooking time. All right, and to cancel to this pressure cooker can keep warm your food for 24 hours. So it's so great. At least 12 hours keep warming, right? You can have you can cook today. It will start cooking for like a few hours. Then later on, you can keep warm. Okay, up until 12 hours. Sorry. All right. So how is it, my dear? Is it done? Okay. So she have mixed everything perfectly. So I told you she's very good cook. Okay, and just put aside 4 minutes. Okay, since we already mixed it around 5 to 10 minutes, you can put it aside because I already make the batter, the another one earlier. Just put inside the bowl. Okay, she's going to transfer it into the bowl, of course. All right. So how to use this multi-pressure cooker? It is very simple. Okay, very simple. All right. So this multi-pressure cooking stock up for up to 2 chicken, not 2 piece, 2 huge chicken. Okay, so very easy. Okay, is it already? Is it done up? Okay, let's go. All right, so this is the batter we made earlier. Okay, very easy batter. All right, then can you please pour some? All right. So what you can do right now is, okay, all right, since the batter looks nice, so you just pour inside. If you want a very crunchy pizza, no need to put more or much. I mean, like no need to make it thicker. So just a simple thin. Pour everything. Put inside. More. Lagi. Pour more. More. Put more. Okay, from 1 cup you can make up a pizza, nicely done pizza. Not really thick, not really. You can make a little thinner pizza, not like in the Pizza Hut, right? Please don't compare with Pizza Hut because this is home cooked. Okay, so just. Can you listen to me? Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear. Just someone asked a question. He didn't know that we can make a pizza with a rice cooker. Can you comment on that?
Okay, this is not a regular. This is not a regular rice cooker. This is a multi-pressure cooker. If you want to make a pizza from a rice cooker, it will be another story. Okay, this is a multi-pressure. Means it use pressure to cook. Compared to our ordinary rice cooker, it's actually different. Okay, rice cooker using heat, but this using pressure. Okay, So there's a difference between multi-pressure cooker and also ordinary rice cooker. All right, so if you can see, we just spread evenly, okay, the whole batter. You can make the whole batter in the pot, or you can just use half, because I love thin and also the crust. Okay, you can see here. Is it clear, Mr. Sazwan? All right, so
Yep.
to make the what we are going to put in the top. Okay, first
could you show me again the angle?